computer.
Ready? Oh, we're
Episode
live.
3.
Welcome, welcome. We think we're live.
I think
As
we are.
always, we don't know what we're doing. We're
But we're
just rolling
back.
with it. Thanks to everyone for the support so far. We see you, appreciate all the love and the positive comments and
Messages
all
as
of that good
well.
stuff.
So going on the Instagram, I have had some messages for both of us that have been saying like they, especially like posing feedback, how they've taken it into like their next show and it's made them either feel more confident or they've made posing tweaks and they've got a better placing. So yeah, it's nice that it's really well responded and everyone's feeling the support from it, which is amazing.
Yeah, I've definitely had some feedback saying that it's nice to get comments on what the judges are potentially looking for and how people
Mm.
can improve their physiques or where their physiques may be strong for the criteria or maybe not as strong. Because the thing is, like, even if you're a good representation of the category criteria, you're always going to get feedback on what you can do better. Like, there's always improvements to be made. So I just think it's nice to get the feedback from people that they're finding that kind of commentary helpful.
Yeah.
And yeah, if
And if
there's
we
anything you
don't
want to
cover
know, then
you,
let us know.
obviously with PCA, there's just so many classes. So if we don't, we mainly go for the winners unless there's a comparable thing that's going to be helpful. So if we don't cover you and you just want to reach out to either of us, then always know that we won't step on toes. You have coaches, but it's always like if we can give some feedback and you want it, then we will happily help where we can.
Absolutely.
So we are going to be covering PCA Saxon and the Two Bros Pro Qualifier. So yeah, it's a nice
First pro
busy week.
qualifier.
First pro qualifier of the year. Do you want to go through PCA or do you want to go through the Two Bros first?
It's up to you. Do you want to talk about yourself first, or do you want to?
Yeah, we can
Because
touch on that.
someone was competing this weekend.
Yeah,
She's
let's
been
go
busy.
straight to it. So, can you see my page?
Yes, we can.
Okay, I always need to check now.
Whether or not it's the right one is a different matter.
So I'm going to move this weird little bar thing because I've got to work out where we are. So we've got two rows. There we go. So the
Fish
coverage
is
isn't as good. So we'll go straight to bikini first. So bikini
yeah.
overall. So the winner was, I want to say Shanae. I don't know if I'm
Sh-
pronouncing that right. Shanae. So she's
Shanae,
from
I
South
think was how
Africa.
they pronounced it. Yeah.
Yeah, she was super, super, super lovely. I will zoom in, better the quality. So this was the overall lineup. So it was Sinead did look amazing from the front, to be fair. Like I saw her backstage, and even Matt was like, she looks great.
Yeah.
So there's obviously we've got Hope, we've got Sophie. So Sophie obviously won the overall for the regional. You got me on the end. And yeah, so for me personally, if we want to touch about me, my feedback is normally condition. We pushed fullness so much that my feedback was my shoulders are too big. There's worse problems to have. And because
Mhm.
we pushed so much fullness, I didn't actually have any negative feedback about my glutes. So my glutes were great. But yeah, it just made me look slightly unbalanced. So that was the reasoning here. They said if I can either bring up my lower or somehow make my upper smaller, which I did not pump or did not do anything to my upper. It's just the food loved the shoulders. That's just what made me look a little bit unbalanced. And that's something we've really got to remember with bikini. It is about that balance. You have to bring your best look to your frame. So
Yeah.
that's
The thing is though, it's an interesting thing to touch on in terms of what is celebrated
Mhm.
in PCA bikini
Yeah.
versus Two Bros or IFBB NPC bikini, because I think that you can be a victim of being too upper body dominant in bikini for IFBB and NPC. They've been very clear in saying that they want nice rounded shoulders, but they don't want super dominant, striated, um, overwhelming delts on the top line. They want complementary
Mhm.
delts that make it look like you train, obviously, but not overpowering. Whereas, as we know, PCA love upper body on a bikini girl, right? So I think
Hard,
this is where it can get,
grainy, pumped.
yeah. And I mean, I love that look.
I
But
love
this
it.
is where I
Yeah.
think Well, this is where I think it can get challenging. Like I've said this before on different podcasts. I think it takes a very particular kind of physique to be able to reach top level with PCA and
Yeah,
NPC. Because the looks can be vastly different between the two. And I think I think back to when I made the decision to kind of go more down the PCA route. And it was because I had to look at myself and go, do you know what? Do I really fit what IFBB and NPC are looking for? Like, I love the NPC bikini look, but I also can be objective enough to look at myself and go, do you know what? Like, I probably don't really fit what they're looking for because I do have to get quite lean for my physique to look as I like it to look,
Mhm.
which sometimes doesn't favor what they like, but I also have quite a dominant upper body.
Yeah,
And that only lands well with particular kinds of judges in particular kinds of lineups. So you have to, if you are on the more muscular end or you like to be on the more shredded end, you kind of have to play it more strategically when you're competing with NPC and sit in particular lineups in countries where you know that that's the type of look that tends
yeah,
to come in more commonly, and the judges tend to favor that kind of look. Whereas, like with the PCA show, we know they love that. So it's
yeah.
like if you do have that kind of physique where you have a dominant upper body and it's still balanced with
Mhm.
PCA. They still want a balanced physique, but you can afford to push that upper
Yeah,
body development a little bit more and the quad development a little bit more. Because as long as you're showing the most kind of extreme and balanced version
yeah,
of an X frame that you can give, there is that scope to be able to do that. And there's obviously bikini trained in the amateur ranks
yeah.
for you to be able
I,
to push the size a bit more if you want to. But I think with NPC, it
yeah, so
seems the same, but it's not.
a good way to kind of think about it, or I try and think about it, is think PCA is like a big hard X frame, and think of NPC as a normally full S shape. So you want
Yes.
the curves. Obviously, it might be a bit different. Like if you compete in like Alicante, you can probably get away with being a little bit leaner. You compete in America, you want big and full. Like again, like you said,
Yeah.
know where you're going. But you can normally know with PCA, like the bigger, the fuller, the harder, the drier, the leaner, like everything. They want that like wow factor, like the stuff we like. We love the striations and stuff. We're no glute
Yeah.
striations. I no matter what you do, always have full glutes, but
Yes.
shoulder striations, tight waist, everything like that. So yeah, that is the big difference.
Yeah.
And then obviously when we look at
I
the back,
think like I would say just touching on that, that like NPC lean more towards that what I would describe as healthy bikini
yeah,
look.
yeah, because it's meant to look like
Sometimes
more
maybe on
beach
the
body. Yeah,
PCA side of things, we maybe don't always
yeah,
look like that. But no, the more bubbly
yeah,
kind of you've got enough definition to see everything that you need to see, and it's not grainy and it's not intimidating. It's bubbly with appropriate definition. Whereas, like say, PCA, you can afford to be a little bit more muscularly dense, a little bit more grainy, have a little bit
yeah.
more size in the upper body, and it's not necessarily penalized.
And I think that's something as well. Like when you think of like your Lauralees, your Maureens, your Phoebes, like they are very big, full. I don't want to say
Mm,
soft because they're just
mm,
they're full with lines, but they're not soft. But
yeah.
it looks like you said healthy. PCA, it isn't just who's lean. Don't just try and get inside out lean because if you've got no muscle, you're
No,
just
no,
a
no.
walking skeleton. You need to have the
Yeah,
development. You then need to fill it and you need to be
yeah.
lean so it pops. And that's what they want that little bit more. So yeah, when we look at the NPC here, photographer didn't wait till
Yeah.
everyone had transitioned, but but
I mean, there that's a good lineup of glutes to be fair, but like I'll be honest with you, like I think that if you look at the three girls in the middle, so is it Cheyenne, did we say, in the middle, who won the pro card? If I look at her physique, I personally can see why she won the pro card because I would say, and this is where like this all comes down to subjectivity and personal preference, that she had the best balance of top to bottom size and condition. Like I think that the girl to the left of her was super impressive, but I would say that she was a bit sharp and maybe a little bit
Huh?
lower body dominant.
So this
Yeah.
is the girl that did wellness and bikini.
Okay. Okay. So that kind of makes sense. I wouldn't look at her and think she is wellness. Like
I
that's
think
not
she's called
necessarily
Thea. Correct me if I'm wrong,
here.
but I think she's called Thea. So yeah, so
That's
she did both.
Yeah, I don't necessarily look at her and think, oh my God, what is she doing in bikini? Because she's definitely wellness. But I do look at her physique and think that it does potentially look like it's going a little bit more
Yeah,
lower body
it's
dominant than it
sharper.
is upper body dominant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
It's
and
definitely, this
then
is
the girl,
something you've got to bear in mind as well with bikini. It's not etched in tie-ins. They want lines, but they don't want etched in. And obviously, if, with Thea, sorry, if I think that's your name, I tried to look it all up. With you, obviously you're balancing between wellness and bikini. So that's understandable why you got that condition. And obviously when you're in between the two, you're trying to get that feedback, you have to make a decision which one would you go for. So, based on that, that's probably why she is that little bit sharper. Whereas obviously you see everyone else with those fuller glutes. So anyone that is probably wondering why, that could be a reason why, because she's going in between the two, and that's what she's having to decide with her condition.
I will say, like, I do look at her physique though, and I'm like, she's got like her glute shape is beautiful, do you know? And I look at it and I'm like, oh, like with some more size, I could see that being really impressive
Yeah.
wellness.
More size and upper glute. You can see she's actually trying to pose down by the way she's quite
Mhm.
narrow and her toes are forward.
Yeah.
So I don't think she made it in the overall for the wellness for us to really compare if she changed her posing to see what her quads would
Mhm.
look like. Obviously in the
Sure.
front pose here we can see there's quite a good profile there, but balance
Yeah.
from upper to lower, she's got quite a lot of muscle on her upper as well. So,
Yeah.
again, the photos we take with a pinch of salt because
But I did just want to say the girl in the purple next to Cheyenne,
yep.
like her balance and shape isn't actually too far off Cheyenne's. When
No,
I look at them, I just think that maybe, and obviously the back post, she's been done dirty there, right? Like the photographer
yeah,
has done her
done
dirty
so
there.
dirty.
But so again, I can't rule out that maybe the front pose picture has been taken at the wrong time as well. But when
Mhm.
I'm looking, she's slightly leaning over backwards with that pose. And I
Yep.
kind of think that if she maybe sat back into her glute a little bit more and straightened up that top line, that would have made her more comparable
Mhm.
next to
Yeah.
Cheyenne.
And because if you look
It would have
at
been
the
flattering to
where
me
she
too.
is leaning up, that's flaring that rib cage. Whereas if we look
Hmm.
at Cheyenne here, like that waist is nice and tight. Obviously, she's covering Cheyenne's glutes here,
Hmm.
but we can see in like other
Yeah,
photos, like Cheyenne, like the detail, Cheyenne here, the
yeah,
condition was really on point in her front pose.
yeah.
She
I
really had
agree.
full glutes. She had that small line, not a big quad line. We're a little bit softer here. But yeah, in compare, like it's kind of apples and I feel like different set of judges, it might have gone a different way. Like again, we're
Yeah.
taking a small snippet of what the judges saw on stage by these photos, but I did see both of them backstage. Her glutes are nuts when she hits that pose. Like even
Yeah,
just
I was going to say, like
they
looking,
are
you can tell
nuts.
that if they were set
Yeah,
right, that would be an impressive back shot.
yeah,
But yeah, I was just looking at the front pose and I was like, I think that maybe just straighten up that top line, having the hips twisted to the side a little bit more and just pushing back through that glute would just be more favorable potentially
yeah.
to
Because
her
that is
shape.
something they will pick up on. They don't want to see that rib flare. So if you think
Mhm.
ribs down but keeping that core tight, like the proportions, you don't know how it's going to change. But if you think Hope has a very long torso,
Yeah.
so would probably be more prone to being ribby. Again, lighting, she's on the end, things like that. But she's got a lovely structural front shot here. She just knows
Mhm.
she needs more muscle in her actual legs, like the glutes, probably more upper glute, but like she knows that, but she's got like a nice structure. That front shot as well. Like I love Hope's front. Like how great
Oh,
is
it's
that?
beautiful. That front shot is beautiful. And you looking at her structure, I think I said this to you before. It's like you know that she has that. Do you know
Yeah,
what I mean? She's got that IFBB look, and it's just a matter of
so
time and
nutritious.
putting the density in the right areas, so that you're filling out that structure to
Yeah,
complete it. But we all know you can't rush density. Like you can't rush even if you're taking, and this isn't me saying that hope is or isn't, I'm just speaking in general, even if you're taking performance enhancing drugs, you still can't rush the process.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, the PEDs are going to help accelerate that, but you still need to put in the work alongside that to create the muscular density that needs to go on the frame. But like, front shot is beautiful. It's
But
very
yeah,
striking.
everyone here, they all had their strengths. And ultimately, it is one
Mm,
of those things is knowing that, what the judges want. The biggest thing is, as we always say, the balance for your physique. Who fits the criteria the most? Like who has the tight waist, who has the fullness, who is creating the balance, who presents themselves well. So yeah, I like could have, gone to whoever depending on the day, but we can see why it has gone to Cheyenne, and well done to Cheyenne. Like I said, saw her backstage. She's literally the
congratulations.
loveliest person. So that was bikini. Then we had wellness. So there's just two in the wellness here. So
This was interesting to me because I saw this picture and it the back shot, I think, probably was a big deciding factor, I think, in the
mm,
overall because do we know what the winner's name
Maya.
is? Maya.
Yeah,
Like that back shot is
it's nuts, isn't
is
it?
very, very strong.
That's what we
It's
mean
very
by
strong.
etched in glutes.
Yeah, it's and it's not intimidating in a sense of like she doesn't have super shredded hamstrings. Like the glutes are nice and full. There's
D.
enough definition to show the muscle appropriately.
Mhm.
Um, I just think in the front shot, it would be nice to see more thickness in the legs and maybe a bit more pushback through the glute to
Yeah,
exaggerate that glute curve a little bit more. But again, I can't rule out that maybe the picture might have been taken
done
when
them
she isn't
dirty.
set in the
Yeah.
pose. But yeah, I feel like if that we create a more exaggerated S curve in the front shot, that would pop that off beautifully. But she got the pro card, so I guess that's all
Yeah.
that
I did
matters.
watch her
Congratulations.
interview with Suki, and she said that she was in the Arnold US as well. So she
Oh,
said she's
okay.
close to it there. So
Yeah.
she's been working for it, and she finally got it. So that was good for
Congrats.
her. Then the photographer wasn't the best for the fit model overall either.
Oh dear.
But
It's a shame. It is a shame because it would make commenting on this much easier.
it
So
really
take
would.
what we say with a pinch of salt, girls. If you were done dirty on
Yeah,
the
we
pictures, then we're
understand.
happy to accept.
Yeah,
We
lighting,
might be wrong here.
you're moving, you might not have hit your pose because he's just taking it whenever he fancies. So
Oh, just bear with us, okay?
we've got Mel. So there's Maisie on the end, Mel,
Yes.
it's Elise, and then I couldn't
Okay.
find who this lovely lady was on the end when I did some research. So
Mm,
Elise did the French regional. She won the overall.
yeah.
And I don't think she was planning on coming here. I guess the results were what was subjective, and she won. So she's come over here, which I
Yeah.
do feel for Mel because she is fighting for that pro card.
Mel,
And
keep on in there,
yeah, we
girl.
are
Like you'll
rooting for
come.
you, Mel. I even stood backstage waiting for the overall, and I like she doesn't know this. I had the camera ready because I just was like, just in case she gets it, so I could get a side of stage.
Oh.
And I just felt for her because she's getting such positive feedback that she's there. She's getting little tweaks, which she's going to keep working on and she's going to keep doing. But this is also one good thing with Fit Model is, it's a sustainable should be that unless you are really digging, then you've got to understand why. But it should be a more, this is the reason they brought it out, sustainable. So, she can keep going, finances permitting, because it's
Yeah.
expensive. She can keep going. So
Yeah.
they said it was
But as
like,
well, like
yeah,
that probably touches on a couple of things is because the look is more attainable, the likelihood is that you're gonna get more people turning up to these classes, which means that the competition is going to be more stiff because
mhm,
you're probably going to have lots of people that can fit the criteria. I'm not going to say easier because it's not easy.
yeah,
Like we
it's
know
not
it isn't
easy.
easy. But there's probably going to be more people turning up at shows that more closely fit the criteria than what there would be for the higher level of muscularity or condition classes. But one thing I actually was talking to one of my clients about over the last couple of days is, do you know what? Like, this is bodybuilding. Like what Mel is going through represents bodybuilding. Obviously, she's
Yeah.
been in the sport for a long time, chasing her results and her pro status. And this is the reality of it. If you are going to be a bodybuilder, you have to accept that for the majority of people, it is not a one and done situation. Like you have to keep knocking on the door. Like you have to show up, turn up, get the feedback, make the improvements, come back. Like, yes, of course, there are going to be the genetic elite that turn up in their first year and dominate, or the people that have been doing the work for 10 years prior to ever having stepped on stage, and it looks like they're getting their pro cards in their first season, but they've basically been living like bodybuilders for 10 years before. Like for the majority of people, you will have to keep showing up for years
I
to
think as
to
well, one
get
of
to where you
the
want to be.
big things that I'll always say as well, because people were saying to me, like, why don't you keep going? And all this. Ultimately, getting a card is not going to change my next steps. Like it
Yeah,
isn't. So I'm still going to train. I'm still going to eat. I want to keep progressing my look. So when you get the card, you are at the bottom of the pack again. So you're got to keep progressing. So it's nice that Mel's basically there. Like, and then she can be obviously comparable in a pro lineup until you get to a point where you can be that undeniable and get it, which she is, but she's getting feedback to make sure that when she gets it, she's better than if she had got it the first
she'll be
time.
ready. Yeah.
Because she
Yeah,
is
yeah,
mentally
absolutely.
pushed herself. If you get given it straight away, how do you know how much it actually means to you? Because you haven't worked as much. Like it's that whole thing of it. It's not the destination, it's a journey. And this is the thing,
Yeah.
except the judges are subjective. They are humans. So they are going to
Yes,
go of what's on the day, what they like, and based on what's in front of them. And it will be a matter of when, not if with Mel. But
of
because she
course.
keeps making these tweaks, it's still new to her as well. She's
Yeah.
learning, I should pose like this. And that's all going to set her up for when she gets into those pro lineups to know, because if she got it straight away, she'd only be getting all these when she's in that pro lineup. So it just makes her a better
Yeah.
pro when she gets it.
I think it's just about understanding that if you do want to be a competitive bodybuilder, you've got to be in it for the long haul.
Hmm.
Like most pro athletes that you speak to had to knock on the door for years before it got given to them, but they still kept showing up regardless. Like, I think everyone just wants to get things quick now. I
Yeah.
think that's just the nature of society that we live in. And they think that if they don't get it quick, that means that they're a failure. And it's like, well, no, you're just basically in line with the standard. Of course, you're going to get people that get there quick, but that they're the exception, not the rule. Do you know what
Yeah.
I mean? So, like, Mel is just representative of the fact that, like, for most people, it's not as simple as show up and get what you want, because that does, you can turn up your best and not be the best on show
Yeah.
day. That's just how it is. But just touching on, did you say it was Elise was the girl
Yeah.
that got the pro card?
Yeah.
I did have a look at her individual personal profile because I'm liking with Fit Model to get an accurate representation of what the girls look like, because it doesn't always show in the coverage of the day. But when I looked at her stuff on her own profile, I was like that video there that you're clicking on, I was like, I can
I've
see
already
it's
looked
Fit
at her
Model before
page.
she
Yeah.
even steps on stage next to anybody else. This is what I would expect IFBB Fit Model to
Good
look like.
look.
And I saw
Yeah.
it, I was like, it's a beautiful look. She poses lovely, very elegant. Like I feel like this is a good embodiment of what.
Like that
So I can
waist
see why she
glue
won basically.
is, yeah, it's really
The
nice.
X frame is beautiful.
Very nice tight waist, very nice full glutes. She doesn't have like etched in like that, like those glutes are just really nice full. I love her top line as well. She's got a nice wide top
Yes.
line, but doesn't you can see in that front pose, she doesn't bring anything out. It's nice and
Yeah.
controlled while still
Yeah.
showing. Remember, this is posing for illusions. Like, look at that glute to
That
waist.
front
That's
pose
nice.
is gorgeous,
So
like, and it's
good.
effortless. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So I don't know. Like for me, I feel like I feel for Mel because Mel's like there, but like if you're gonna miss out to anybody, I feel
Yeah.
like this is a
Because it's
pretty
one thing
solid
to
fit model look.
Yeah, and it's not to say this is male at all, but when you see this waist, it's like there's no hard abs, but it's really tight. It's really
Mhm.
like controlled. There's no like dip
Yeah.
in or anything like that. Like that waist is tight. That glute pop is lovely. The shoulders are nice and wide, but she's flared nothing. Like that's the big thing as well.
Mhm.
Remember, you're not forcing poses. It should just look
No.
like, oh, I'm just relaxed, but actually everything's popping.
Yeah, no, like you say, this isn't saying that Mel isn't any of those things. Do you know
No,
what I
we're
mean?
just
Like
comparing
Mel
it to
in
what
her
fit model
own,
is.
yeah, Mel in her own right is a really good representation of what fit model is. It's just a different look. Do you know what
Yeah,
I mean? And again, it could take a different panel of judges and it might have gone a different way. But yeah, I guess, like I said, from looking at Elise's individual
yeah.
profile, when I saw her look, I was like, I can see why
Yeah, she
she was the pro
looks,
card
it's
winner.
a beautiful shape, like absolutely. And it's nice that that is another standard going into the fit model, because it's something we all kind of say, yeah, we can see that. So well done to everyone at the two bro shows. I know a few people are still carrying on, so it'll be exciting to see them. Some of them are going abroad, so it'll be exciting to see them doing that. But
Did,
I think we
did we
covered
touch
everyone.
on the pro show at all?
Oh yeah, let's get that up. So the coverage is still going to be. I don't think they actually posted the pro lineup though.
It was, if you go up, those videos there,
That was the
yeah,
winner.
were.
But I don't think they've actually got a picture of the
I don't
overall.
think they put any pictures up. No, I only saw videos pop up. But I think the thing that I always love to watch with the pros is the presentation, because that's the one thing that always stands out to me when I watch the IFBB pros is the confidence of the posing. And it's nothing exaggerated or over the top. It's all very simple,
Soft.
um,
Remember
but
soft.
clean
Everything. Yeah.
and confident. Do you know what
Mm.
I mean? It's like they're not doing anything drastic. But what they do with flair and they do it with pizzazz, and it gives very much look at me energy. Like they
Yeah.
take their time, like especially when you see that it's always the moment where they like come round into the booty pose, and you can almost feel that they're like looking at the judges,
Yeah.
going, "Look at me," and then they step into their back pose. It's that energetic draw that I
I
just
think
love when I'm watching the pros.
that's the big. I'll always say to my girls as well that struggle with like, what do I do with my hands? What do I do with my arms? Keep everything low and soft. Like, look how they
Yes.
move and how they walk. Like, they take their time. Think how you want to take your time when you do a leg press. You're not just throwing your weights up
Yeah.
and down. Take your time with your walk. Like, take your time with how you move. Like, don't
Mm.
stop, but it's a consistent like tempo movement with posing. That shows a
Yeah,
lot more
absolutely.
confidence as well. And even like when you walk, that's one of the biggest times I would say, like, make sure you have that big smile, because as soon as you come around
Yeah.
to face the front. And something that is good to know with NPC and two bros is, obviously, I think we've established before, they don't do an eye walk like PCA. And the only time normally, not always, because if they think that they need you to do it in your class, they'll do it. But the only time normally they'll ask you to do the walk to the back and come to the front is in the overall. So always practice it.
Overall, yeah.
They might try and get you to do it in your class, depending who else turns up. But it's normally more rare, because normally get a few questions with that, like, do I have to walk to the back? And it's normally the overall, but it's always good to practice it, walking slow to the back and nice and confidently to the front. So it's quite a good
Yeah,
thing
so
to
typically they'll
learn.
only get you to do the walk to the back in your class if it's close between two
Yeah,
people and they're not sure.
trying to decide.
So it can happen, but it's not very common. But like I say, with the pros, the other thing worth just noting is how they hold the pose and they are still. There's no fidgeting about or
Yeah,
adjusting. They get in their poses and they hold them and they hold them confidently. And every girl up there holds themselves like they are the winner. Do you know what I
mm,
mean? There's no one up there that looks anxious. Like even the girls that are on the outside, you can see they're working to draw attention to
yeah,
them. And I think that as amateurs, that's something that you need to bear in mind. It's like instead of being up there with that, I hope they like me energy, you've got to be up there with that look at me
yeah.
energy. Because if you don't
Constantly looking and
believe that you
smiling.
can
Don't feel
win,
defeated because
why
you're on
should
the
they?
outside.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I always think that's the key difference really between the pros and the amateurs is just that self-esteem and confidence and the way that they project that,
Mm,
which I'm sure makes it very difficult for the judges to make a decision. But yeah.
perfect. So, PCA. let's go through
Hi,
PCA.
PCA Saxon. Love to see it.
Yeah, so we had the PCA Saxon. We'll go through like the winners. Again, we had two new ladies for the fit model. So we'll start off and we'll just go in order as how they come up. So we
Just
had,
whilst we touch on that, though, there were three girls in fit model, but the winner of Masters over 35s
it's
got
been
moved
clear.
from fit model into Masters, but we can
Yeah,
touch on
so
that. But
Lisa, this is
just
Lisa who was. So there should have been three, but she's got moved. So it'd just
but
be
just worth for anyone that doesn't know with PCA, because you can only enter one class per
Mhm.
day. It's not like a two-bro show where you can enter multiple classes on the day. You can only enter one class on the day. If you turn up into a class and PCA feel like you're better suited to a different class within your category, I'll get to that in a second, then they will move you up if they feel that that's appropriate. So, if you turned up to fit model, for example, and they felt like you were too muscular or too lean, they can move you up into one of the bikini categories. Or if you're in one of the bikini categories and they feel like you're too lean or muscular for that, they can move you up into trained, but they won't move you cross categories. So like you wouldn't get moved from figure to bikini.
No. But
Um,
you also have to bear in mind if you're unsure, go for the class that runs first because
yes,
don't
because
be
you
like,
can't
I'm
get
not
moved
sure if
back.
I'm fit model or bikini. I know it sounds like such a silly thing to say, but just in case you
Mm.
don't think, don't go, I'm not sure, I'm just going to do bikini. And then they go, oh, you're fit model, because then you've completely missed it. So if you're unsure, always go for the first class, then you can get moved and come back.
I will say though, I am yet to see them do this. Um, I'm yet to see them move anyone from wellness into bikini.
Yeah, no, fair.
Um,
Yeah, I mean,
But
we
I
can
guess
talk
there
about
could
it.
be an argument that if you put wellness after bikini, that there could potentially be some girls that turn up in bikini that could be better fitted to wellness. But wellness always happens before bikini.
Yeah,
So I've never seen anyone be moved from wellness to bikini. I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but
watch the
I've never
space.
seen it.
Um,
I might get through from next week.
So yeah, so we had the lovely, it was Kelly and Anna ended up being in the fit model class together. So I did put those
Mhm.
photos side by side just so we can see them. So again, just to kind of clear up a few things because it's always a lot harder when you just watch one reel and then you watch another reel. So Kelly didn't actually do her side poses in her video, so we've only got front and back.
Okay.
So going off this, do you want to go first? Would you like me to go first?
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, I think looking at the two looks, I feel like Kelly was the winner, correct? Is
Yeah,
that Kelly that won? Yeah.
yeah,
Kelly's look was a little bit leaner, and I would say she had a bit more muscle definition,
yeah,
particularly I'd probably say through the lower body.
yeah,
That would probably be my observation that just led to the look having a bit more pop to it.
yeah.
That I think would probably have been the deciding factor if I was to
Yeah, that,
divide
that I kind
any
of
two.
go off that idea as well. Like when we look at the front pose, I know it looks like Anna's just a little bit in the shade there. She hasn't quite come to the front. But
Mhm.
when we look at that front pose, we look like we've just got a little bit more muscle here. Like we just said, I know NPC and everything, but we still, the criteria is the same. We still want a waist, nice tight waist. We want to see that glute pop. So we can just see a little bit more here. The waist does look a little bit tighter here. And then when we go into that back shot, yes, we don't want to have big, big, big lines. I mean, we do have nice full glutes with Anna, but we just that tiny bit more. It's just a little bit, so it just shows that
Yeah,
we've just got there's a condition element to it. It's not harsh.
yeah.
It's just enough that we've pulled a little bit of condition in. So that's
Mhm.
again going off what would be my thoughts when it comes to when you look at the two that are comparable. If we then
Yeah,
compared
absolutely. I
against
mean,
the previous winners, apples and oranges, we could go down a wormhole. We're just going to go off these two.
yeah, absolutely. And like we said before, like when we get to Universe, we'll get our first true look at what PCA say is representative of the fit model criteria for whoever turns up on that day. But yeah, I think that it was just a slightly better conditioned and slightly more muscular look, and I think that just favoured what was closest to the category criteria for PCA on that day.
Yeah, so that's obviously something to bear in mind. Fit model, you still need to have some muscle, you still need to have some
Yes.
condition. Like it still is a competitive category. It isn't just, oh, I look okay. You remember there is that
Yeah.
criteria, especially for PCA. We've said this before. We do think PCA is still going to want that little bit leaner than maybe what an NPC is going to go for, just a little bit. But universes, I'm excited
Yeah.
for universe.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's just a case of remembering that even though the category is less muscled and less conditioned, they still want to see some muscle definition. So if you look at the physique and you can't see any of the muscle definition, then it's probably either a case of more muscle needing to be developed or more
Mm.
condition needing to be pushed for, dependent on where the physique is at.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So we have wellness. Again, there was only two in wellness, and it was Lauren and Abby. So Lauren is the winner. So going through Lauren's
Congratulations.
physique. Just wait till she
Yeah,
gets.
so I think like me, I feel like it was a really polished look. If I was going to provide any feedback on what I think would be good in terms of development areas to just make this better, I think just more density and
Yeah,
development in the lower body. To just what you really want when you've got your wellness girls is for you to look at the physique and go, wow, like the glutes and legs are just smacking me in the face. Do you know what
yeah,
I mean? It's like to the point where you don't even bother looking at the upper body, or you look at the upper body as an afterthought
yeah.
because the glutes and the legs have just smacked you in the face so hard that you can't ignore them. So yeah, I think like for me, she's got beautiful shape. I feel like the condition was really nice.
Lovely condition. You
But
can
with a bit
see
more
it for her quads.
yeah, with more size through the quads, hamstrings, and glutes, I think that'd just top this off.
Especially if she can keep her waist nice and tight, because I do notice that's something more prone for wellness girls is they can lose their waist a little bit more. So if she can keep that waist, like we can see there's the outer glute there, there's some lines of hamstrings there, so kind of the quads trying to come through, but I think it's literally just going to be just get building that muscle. Like this shot is lovely and it's great,
Mhm.
but imagine like more muscle on that. Like that would be
Yeah,
even more. So for how she's presenting her physique at the minute, she's presenting it great. I'd say if she
for
transitions into
sure.
a back pose, keep those glutes lifted even more. Like obviously for any category, we want those glutes lifted, but especially for wellness, really keep them pushed back as much as possible. Keep making them look as full as possible.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that people need to remember is like when you step on stage, you are presenting your physique at the best that you are able to present it right now. That doesn't mean that there isn't scope to improve it. There's always going to be scope to improve it. So,
I'm going away and building some
yeah,
more glutes. I've been
I mean, I've been told that every year since 2019. So
yeah.
we're still out here building the glutes. It's fine. But no, yeah, it's a case of like, it's a really nice look and I can see why she won. But
Yeah.
just more size is always going to help.
Yeah, but otherwise, posed nicely, took her time, confident, really,
Confident.
really nice.
Mhm.
And then in junior bikini, we had I think it was just two girls again.
Yeah.
So we had Char and Freya when it came to the junior classes.
Yeah, so I've met Shah before. I've actually posed Shah before. And it's nice to see her back on stage. She's made some crazy improvements to the muscle that she's put on since I think it was 2024 that she did PCA first timers.
Mhm.
She'll have to correct me if I'm wrong, but I was really impressed when I saw how much muscle she'd slammed on in that time. It's crazy. Especially when you consider that she is a junior.
Yeah, it's
It's mad.
nuts.
Um, and I'm glad that she's stuck with bikini because I've always said that I feel like her structure is just made for what could be a really impressive bikini look. My feedback would just be more condition.
Yeah,
Like I feel like her muscular density is there, like even with the level of condition that we have here, you can still see everything popping through. So with that little bit more condition pushed for, I feel that this could be a really, really impressive
yeah.
look.
I do you know what? I think literally the fact we can see the muscle there through the condition she's currently got. It looks like her bikini might be a little bit big, so that can be off-putting as well because you can see her adjusting it a few times. But honestly, put like you said, we always say you can't feel what you don't have, and she's got the muscle
She's got
popping.
it, yeah.
Rip off a bit more and get more condition. Like like you said, for a junior, like I'm really excited to see how she can come back better, because hopefully she's got more in the tank to keep stripping away, because especially, you got some time before universe, like that
Hmm.
have that frame with the condition she's got, but you can see the
Yeah.
silhouette. It's really exciting. And the way she poses and presents herself
Yeah.
is lovely. So yeah, just
Yeah.
pull some more off. Because everything else she's executing looks really, really good.
It's that really beautiful X frame that
Mm,
she's got.
that's
But
good.
like you say, just yeah, super exciting potential.
Mm,
It's just now, and we've all been there. It's just about finding that right balance when you peak that really brings the physique to life.
yeah,
And yeah, this is impressive as it is.
yeah.
Um, we just
But we
push
want to
on,
see
like you
more,
say, hopefully,
because that's
hopefully there's
to be
more.
wild.
We want more, we want more.
Yeah, you can do it. Um, so well done to Chart and Freya. So yeah, really, really, but yeah, like I said, posing wise, she executed herself really nicely. So yeah, if you could got time, get a smaller bikini or get this one stuck to you, get that conditioning and bring this pose in, and yeah, it could be very, very exciting. So this is Lisa, who was in Fit Model and got moved. And then she ended up
Yes. Yeah,
winning
so
Jaded 35
she
plus.
won.
So
Yeah. No, it's always impressive, I think, when someone turns up to a different category and then turns up in the category that they're meant for, and
yeah,
then they go on to do well. Because ultimately, that's what PCA is saying when they move you, is they're just saying, do you know what? We don't think you're a good fit for the class that you turned up for. You would be more competitive
yeah.
in a different class. And obviously they weren't wrong because she went on to win it. But yeah, I think that maybe that can be quite nerve-wracking for a lot of people when they get moved class because they feel like they're not prepared for it. And what I always say to my clients, if I feel like they could potentially be on the border, is not to worry about it if they get moved because the posing's going to be the same. And I think really I've just answered my own question really and why you wouldn't see wellness competitors get moved into bikini because the posing would be
Posing.
slightly different. Um, but the
Oh no, you've frozen.
so all you're doing is turning up in a lineup. Oh, can you hear me now?
Yeah, you're back. Oh no,
Yeah.
I was
Oh,
like,
we're
oh
back.
no.
I don't know where you lost me. All I was saying was that I always say to my clients that they shouldn't be intimidated or worried if they get moved up a class because the posing will be the same. All you're doing is coming back on stage with a lineup of girls that is different to the one that you just stepped on stage against. So you don't have to do anything different. You just have to turn up and present yourself appropriately in exactly the same way, and you'll just be against different girls, and that is it.
If you get moved up,
Um,
like just see it as like such an opportunity that you are that much better than you realized, or more muscular than you realized, or bigger than you, because it's PCA. If you're getting moved up, you're bigger than you think. So see it as like a fun compliment.
yeah,
Oh, okay, I've got a little bit of muscle. So let's go have some fun against some other gals that I thought were bigger than
yeah.
me, but you're going to be competitive against them. And she was, because she won. So, looking
Yeah.
at her
So it's
frame,
usually either muscle or condition because you
yeah,
do see it sometimes in bikini where the girls maybe aren't necessarily super big, but they're super
yeah.
shredded. And then they get moved up to trained, let's say, for example. But yeah,
Mm.
I believe this is a nice bikini look.
Very nice.
So I,
Glutes are
I can
nice and
see why that
full.
happened.
Waist is tight. I'd say we could probably get a little bit more out of those shoulders and lats in the front and back pose,
Agree.
just to really bring them forward and open up, especially now you're bikini, you're not fit model, so you can like
Yes.
bring them all forward. So get practicing front and back pose, bring those shoulders up, bring those lats out. But the waist stays nice and tight in those side shots. Glutes look nice and full, keep them nice and lifted. But yeah, you carried yourself really, really nicely because, as you said, it's probably nerve-wracking thinking, oh my God, I'm now against these girls. So you've got to hold your own against them, but you did amazing. So
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. It's just thinking X frame. Even for fit model, like because the posing criteria is the same, You still want to make sure that you're opening up that upper body
Yeah.
and maximizing that as much as possible.
Then we had the 45 plus, Alana. So she was the winner. And we had in the 45 plus, it was only Alana by herself. So that can be nerve-wracking as well. So
Mhm.
yeah, the fact I know, trust me, being there for the last few shows, winning by default can sometimes suck. But you can't control that no one else is not going to turn up. So you've just got to think, well, this is still my best me, whether I'm against people or not. So I'm just going to still make sure I pose. Like you haven't done all that work to not pose your socks off on stage and get your photos and
Yeah,
get your.
well,
So still posing confidently because you do think, oh God, like it doesn't count. I haven't been up against anyone, but big smile. It's a chance to be on stage. Hopefully you've got more shows planned so you can be up against some other girls. Um, but yeah, otherwise it can be hard being by yourself.
yeah. Yeah, but I think just remember, like, I know that people chase being in a class with people, but if you win your class, you will have to compete in the overall. So you do get to compete against people regardless. So don't forget that. You may not have had the opportunity to compete against people in your class, but you get to compete against the best of the best. And what better way to
Yeah,
end your show day? The one thing I would say about Alana that stands out, she's got sass. And I
yeah,
always say to my masters competitors that that's the one thing or the one area that I feel like a lot of masters competitors hold themselves back on is it almost sometimes gives that energy of I can't believe I'm doing this at
yeah,
my age. Who do I think I am? And it's a very shrinking violet kind of energy. And I'm like, no, you go up there, honey, and you
yeah.
show what you've worked for. But Alana definitely didn't hold back on the sass, and I love it. So here for
It's
it.
it's the facial expressions. They're nothing. Some people can do quite cringy facial impressions, and it's like pouting and stuff. Like this is her being like, "Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I know what I'm bringing, and I'm gonna make
Yeah,
sure I own it on this stage." Like that's your moment, and she's like the way she's giving eye contact, the way she's looking. She brings a smile, and then it's like that little sultry bit. Like, yeah, it's a nice. It's bringing her personality. We don't want the extras. We
yeah,
don't want the clicks, and we don't want the heel flicks. We don't want the dips. We don't want that. We want you to just bring
no.
what your personality is through subtle
Yeah.
movements, and that's what she's doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I think if I was going to give any feedback, like similar to Lisa before, just optimizing opening up that upper body a bit more. And I think a bit more condition potentially wouldn't go amiss. With the masters classes, you can afford
Yeah.
to be that little bit leaner. So I'd say if you are able to, pushing for a little bit more condition might
Yeah, we
help
can get a little bit more like the upper body, the striations, the shoulders, everything spot on. If you can get more in the legs,
lower. Yeah.
and then yeah, I'd say it stood out more in the back pose, open up, and side shots. Like careful you don't close these shoulders up because your shoulders are great. Like rotate rather than lift. And then yeah,
I
we
think
just
the other
there.
thing that people do when they're turning in the side poses is that they show their discomfort in the twist by pulling round from the
Yeah,
shoulder rather than keeping
compensating.
the shoulder open and twisting. You almost want to imagine like you've got a rod across your shoulders and twist here
Yeah,
to try to keep it as wide as possible. But a lot of people will kind of tweak it
yeah.
round. And then when they do that, it
Yeah,
shortens
I
the
think it's like
clavicle. Well, it
because
doesn't shorten the clavicle, but you know what I mean.
yeah, I think it's because they go, well, when I rotate, I'm going to rotate with my shoulder. But you want to,
Yes.
like, I'll always try and use this, rotate with your ribs. You have your
Yeah.
shoulder there and rotate with your ribs, and your shoulder will come round. But if you're trying to rotate with your shoulder, that's how it just starts lifting up. So you think, yeah, get to tie a broom to you and just like to get a pole.
Yeah, yeah. Like when you were a kid and you put like a
Yes,
broomstick
and
under
you
your
have it
arms
behind
and
you.
do this.
Why did we
Yeah,
do
that's
that
what
as
you want to do
kids?
when you're twisting. I don't know. I don't know, but I
Kids
feel
don't
like I
do
need
that
to do
these
it
days.
now. I'm
They
not
do
sure that I've got
TikToks.
the.
We played with
Yeah,
brooms.
they have much cooler toys to play with than we do.
Oh my God.
But saying that, I'm a fair bit older than you. So.
I don't think there's much in it.
That's a
So
lie. I'm nearly 40.
I'm entering masters next year.
I thought you were nearer 30.
It's
You
just my
carry it
youthful
well.
looks, my 5 foot frame.
Short equals young.
basically. So we have ladies bikini short. So again, I think Tanya was the only one in her class.
Okay.
Um, but going for her posing. So yeah, confidently posing.
Yeah.
Nice. Making
This,
sure
do you know
she,
what? I was going to just say, looking at her shape, like when I look at it and I visualize it, I'm like, this with more time and more muscle would be really nice. Like the X frame is there, the S curve is there, but it just needs more pop. And I think that's not necessarily a condition thing. I think more condition might not
yeah.
necessarily help the look in the way that you think it would. I think it's more a case of putting more muscle on the frame to give it that pop. That would be
Mm.
my thoughts.
Yeah. Yeah, no, definitely. Because when you, especially when you're in prep, you're not building, you're trying to preserve. And the more you sometimes you push for more condition, especially when you can get feedback like want to see more through the glutes. People are like, I need to chase the glute ham tie, but you just might not
Yeah.
have the muscle there. So you can really like we'll eat into muscle a little bit, but you'll eat into more muscle. So think about the condition you've got
Yeah.
here, which like you said is lovely. Like we can see even in the shadows at the back, there's those quad lines there. So like you said, bring in that. Obviously, we don't know peaking, we don't know full, we don't know dry, we don't know like what your physique is like day to day. But how you're presenting it. The only thing I would say is this back pose is a little bit different, how one arm comes out, but we didn't quite bring the other one out, which of course, some people do pose with one hand on their waist anyway. I personally don't like it because I like symmetry. So I'm normally both hands on or both hands off. So it's not to
I
say it's
mean,
wrong, but I would
yeah,
normally say have both on or both off.
I'll be honest with you. I very, 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 very rarely teach. I mean, I don't
I
teach
don't
one
teach
hand
it.
on, one hand off at all because like you, I like symmetry,
Yeah,
but I almost always teach both hands off the
off.
hips in the
Yeah.
back pose. And that's purely because from getting the shoulders in the right rotational position, it's the easier one to get
Mhm.
the shoulders in the right position. I'll tend to sometimes, if people are having difficulty with fluidity with moving their hands, I might get them to put their hands on their hips as they transition into the back pose and then open out. But I do tend to favor the both hands off the hips
The only
look for the
time, to be
pose.
fair, I'm probably similar to you. The only time I get people to do both hands on is if they've got genuinely a solid, big old lats and big old shoulders and they can pop, then they can transition.
Yeah,
But generally, it's both hands off, just because that tends to be the most common criteria. So again, it's a
yeah.
symmetry thing, it's a balance thing. We want that X frame. So that's the main thing I would say. And again, this is a really silly thing. I'm really big on bikini bottoms being high to help
Okay.
with that X frame. So your bikini bottoms just look a little bit low. I would like hoik them up to your waist and keep those hands aren't too bad, but bring the bikini bottoms up. And that will just help that front X frame even more.
Yeah. So one thing I do want to say is I love the confident hair flicks. You
Yeah.
girl,
Oh, and I
hair
love her
flicker.
sign off. So I know I said like no clicks, no this. She does a little like bye now. Like that is fine.
Yeah.
That's a nice subtle like that's a me. But I don't like a click. I don't like a drop. I don't like a heel flick when people flick their heels. I don't yeah, don't blow kisses. But yeah, that it's nice and
I've
subtle.
winked once.
No, I'd probably end up
But
paying.
I think it was just a twitch on the day because I don't remember doing it, but I keep
Nerves.
seeing on the video, I'm like, what was I doing? But sometimes the nerves take over and things just happen. But no, I think the only other thing that I was going to just say to Tanya is um when you are doing your transitioning, make sure that you complete them. So there was one bit where you walk to the front, so you stand up,
Away
and the
she
hand
goes.
came round, but it kind of brushed the leg but didn't make contact. Like just then, you probably
Yeah.
there was a movement towards the hand touching the leg, but it didn't really touch the leg, so it feels like the transition was incomplete. So I'd
Mhm.
always say if you're going to do things with your hands, make sure that you commit to
Yeah.
what you're doing with your hands and control them. Don't let them control you.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what ends up with the flapping around and the limbs kind of going everywhere. So just make sure that whatever it is you're doing with your hands, you complete
Yeah.
it before
It's
moving on.
like that middle ground between some people who will flex and show and press, and some people will just swoop in, but they commit by bringing their arm all the way in and then out, but like
Yes.
soft.
Hmm.
So yeah, have that like confidence in yourself, you know,
Yes.
which you want to do. So are you just bringing it in and then setting yourself up and opening, or are you like going to show off all that delt striations? Because you can. Don't do that in NPC, but in
Yeah.
PCA, if you've got those striations, bloody
Yes.
show them.
Mm,
I love it.
yeah, absolutely. So yeah, but like that's not to take away from the performance. It was really nice, but that's just a to be fair, I have to give that feedback to a lot of people when they compete because they have that nervous energy of, oh, I don't want to waste the judges' time, and then they end up rushing things,
Yeah.
but then it leaves some of the work that you're trying to do incomplete. And yeah, I just think take your opportunity and make sure that you land everything cleanly.
I always love the PCA reels as well because even I've done a show like where I've done a PCA and then I've deliberately planned more because I can watch the reels back because then I can see what I actually look like on stage. Be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, I rushed that or I didn't hit that glute shot that well because I opened up too much." Well, so like they're great so you can keep looking back and then be like, "Oh, what do I need to do to make sure my next time, my next reel is even better?"
Yeah, absolutely. It's nice to see Amy back.
We have Amy, who is also the overall winner.
Congratulations.
So I met Amy for the first time a couple of weeks ago at the Two Bros Regional.
Yeah.
And then obviously she's moved to PCA now. So one thing I did see a lot of when it came to Amy and her peak week was whether they're filling up differently or what, like her delts would just started exploding. I'd see her in those PCA shots and I was like, what? Where have they come from? So condition
Well, like
is
I was just going to say you like we spoke about earlier, you can afford to push that a little bit more with PCA, and she's got that upper body dominant. Not I'm not saying she's upper body dominant, but she has a dominant upper body in a sense of she's got a beautifully wide clavicle and she's got nice delts that sit on the end of that clavicle. So it's like push that. Do you know what I mean? Like show off the delts on your
yeah.
top line.
Yeah, definitely. So I would say Amy is more like upper body dominant. Like she's got good glutes, but like where she pushes those shoulders forward. So I mean her waist is non-existent. Like that what there's no organ.
Jealous.
Yeah, I know, there's literally nothing. When she hits her front pose,
Mm.
great. And then the only thing I would say that I kind of really picked up on is when she hits this glute shot, just because the glutes aren't as dominant here, we're dropping that back one. So I'd say really try and push. It's going to be uncomfortable, but push those glutes even more in those glute shots just to really project them as
Mhm.
much as possible. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I agree in a sense of like when I said that she's not upper body dominant, I do agree that I think that more lower body development would make her physique look more complete.
oh
I
yeah,
guess
yeah,
what I
yeah.
was saying is
Yeah.
that I don't look at her physique and think that it's overwhelmingly upper body dominant.
No,
Like it's that's but in terms of because her upper body is the most impressive thing in her physique
it's
because of that
PCA
clavicle
wham.
width. Yeah. It has that thing that they like. Um, what it's just a case of is it's like, okay, you've got this impressive upper body that meets what they love. Now we need to make the lower body match that to complete the
Because she's
physique.
another tall girly as well, because she was in Hope's class. So
Yeah.
obviously, you know, it is a little bit harder when you're that bit taller. But
Oh, for
something
sure.
we were talking about was the fact that she's obviously gone. She didn't decide to do the pro qualifier. And this is where, not to say that she's decided for whatever reasons, but this is where it's a good thing to then think about like, do you do a Two Bros regional and then you're just not fussed about a pro card because it's so bloody expensive. You get more time on PCA. So if you're not fussed about a pro card, you then go, I want to then do because now she's done that. If she wants to go back to to Two Bros or do a pro qualifier, she's done the regional
Yeah.
and then she can go into PCA. Or if you go, do you know what? I'm going to be up against the same person. I don't want to pay all that money. So I'll do a PCA. Or like you've got to weigh up your reasons for what federation. And obviously, she's having a little play in both of them and
Yeah.
successfully doing really well. So I'm hoping she's going to do some more PCA. Like she's got to do
Mhm.
universe and stuff. So it'd be really exciting to see how she can keep progressing if she's doing any more shows and stuff. Because yeah, just her transformation from the regional to here. Yeah, it's been really, really nice to see.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, we talked a little bit about this before, but sometimes when you make a decision about where you put yourself, there's a few things that you have to think about. So, I don't know if this factored into Amy's thinking at all, but obviously, when she did the regional, she was in Hope's class and Hope won her class. Now, for some people, that would be enough to put them off doing a pro qualifier against the same person because in their mind it's like, well, I already got beaten by this person once, I'm going to go up against them again, so what's the point? But with IFBB, it is usually a different head judge at pretty much every show. So what's to say that the person that won at one show would necessarily win at the other? Now, like I said, I'm not saying that this was the case for Amy. I'm just saying that for people that might have that thought process, it's not always as simple as that when it comes to IFBB. I think it's a little bit different with PCA because the judging panel is pretty
Always
much
the
the
same, yeah.
same. But the core judges are typically the
And the
same. You might get
criteria
some,
is more consistent.
yeah, yeah, you might get some rotation of supporting judges, but the core panel is usually the same. So if you don't do so well in a regional, then unless you make significant improvements for your next show that meet what they've asked you to do, the outcome is probably going to be the same. But with a IFBB show, for example, like I say, you might favor differently in front of a different judge. So don't always let a result put you off from
Mm.
continuing with the IFBB. The only time I would say maybe not is if it's in front of the same judge,
Yeah. And also
then there's
weigh
not much
up
point.
like how do you look with that criteria as well? And also
Agree.
if you know or not if you're going to be against the same people, because obviously Amy could be she's done really well this time. She could be up against some different people in her next class and then they win because they are bigger or they do have, a different look or whatever. And it's the same. I've done it where I've been up against this one girl in Portugal, Alicante and then Portugal twice, and she's beaten me every time. And I remember the last year I was in Portugal, I said to Matt, I'll be fighting for second then, because there was like 4 or 5 of us in a class, because I was like, she always wins. But I won. I had got bigger and I had got better, but she still
Yeah.
and we were different. She was very dense and very big. I was a little bit tighter. I was still full, but
Mhm.
this is what you've got to bear in mind. Different judges. What are you bringing? How do you fit the criteria? All that kind of stuff. So
Yep.
there's many options, but obviously
Yeah.
she picked the great option. And again, bear in mind that a pro qualifier is so much more money. So unless you really want a
Yeah.
pro card or you really want to be in front of those judges, or you really want to be up against some certain people that you might have been up against before and you want to get that feedback, like do weigh that option up when it comes to a pro qualifier, because they are spenny for the fact that
Yeah.
you don't get a reel out of it.
No, and I say this to my first timers a lot. I don't know if it's the same for you, G, but like I I always say to my first timers, unless it's obvious that you only belong in IFBB or that is the only goal that you have for yourself, like IFBB isn't necessarily the federation to dip your toe in the water with to see if you like it, because it's a lot of money to spend if it's not something that you're specifically serious about. That's not to say that you couldn't give it a go. Like Two Bros have been very clear in saying, we're open to everybody, like everybody, and they have like beginners classes and things like that. So
They're
you
first
can
time as
do it,
beginners and novice. So they have like three
but
before you get to an
it's
open.
spenny.
Oh,
So
so
it's like,
funny. Yeah. So yeah, so I am the same like with my girls. So with Fit Model Out, I do have more girls going for NPC because they want to fit that look. But
mhm,
beforehand, unless they genuinely look like they fit as a bikini person and they fit the NPC, and then I'm like, you've got the finances, let's do it because
mm,
it's great to get on that stage. But yeah,
yeah,
if you are a first timer and you just want to get that stage confidence or whatever, then yeah, there's other shows, and
yeah.
then see that you like it. Or again, if I've got the girls that wants to trial it, we'll do a few different federations because then it
Mhm.
just means they can see what they do like, see where they fit. But yeah, definitely as a first timer, based on how you look, you just want to have fun as well because
Hmm.
it adds up. It
Absolutely.
bloody adds up.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we have trained, and we had two girls in trained. I want to say we had, so Kate was the winner, and then I think we had Rosalind, I want to say,
Okay.
came second.
Nice. Yeah, so I just think for me looking at Kate's physique, I would probably say that um in order to be competitive in trained, the level of muscularity and condition would probably be more representative of what you would see in figure, I guess, for example. You're just doing bikini poses. Now, I can see that you've got some nice muscle there.
Yeah.
And I think that with a bit more condition, like I would say that trained is in your face condition, right? It's like, wow, like I didn't even know women could get that lean
Screams it
kind of
inside
condition.
out.
So don't be afraid to push for that. But I think that in order to be truly competitive in bikini trained, more size and more condition would help to take it there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We can see like the shoulders and the lats especially, and like when she holds that core in, if we
Mhm.
can, and like we can see there's quads there,
Yeah.
let's see it. Let's see that free. I want to see your muscles through your skin.
Yeah.
Like, it's that. It's seeing that, seeing all
We
those.
want you inside out.
Yeah, but that is trained. That's the reason there is trained. Because
Yeah.
even if we look back to Amy, like when she does her walk forward, or even like here, like you can see the striations in her shoulder. When she walks forward in a minute, you'll see the lines in her quads. That's bikini. So if we can
Yeah.
see these lines in a bikini competitor, trained is like, I want to like blow your socks off. Like it,
Yeah.
that's what we want.
It's
So
essentially you don't, if you were to look at an overall lineup, you would want to be able to pick out the bikini trained girl because she is the biggest and leanest one in
mm,
the lineup. So if you've got girls in the standard bikini classes beating you on condition, you pro or size, you know you've probably got some more work to do on the size and condition side of things to be truly competitive in that category. So this isn't me saying that you shouldn't be in this category, okay? It's me just saying that if this is the category that you want to be truly competitive in, then blow
that's
them out of the
that,
water
yeah.
with muscle and blow them out of the water with condition because they're the freaks. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the bikini train girls, it's like Jesus, like blow their socks off with everything that you've got.
Definitely. And then just the same, like when you hit that pose, we can see that muscle there. When both hands are off, we're pinching a little bit. And then just a few posing tweaks, like really show what, like get that condition, show us the muscle, and then show that X-frame, like make it like a big wow factor. So hopefully there's more to come from you because I think we can see more from you here. So hopefully you've got some more shows lined up that we can keep seeing that level up continue because it could be
Mhm.
really, really good.
Yeah,
So is that everyone?
I believe so. Trains is usually the last.
Last one. So that is everyone. It's probably been a bit longer this time, but we have covered everyone.
We
So
had lots to cover.
yeah, there is. There's only PCA this weekend, isn't there? There's no two bros. There's I don't oh no, there's a Scottish. When's the Scottish? That's the 18th. Yeah, there's a Scottish one this
Oh, was
weekend.
that's this
So
weekend
yeah, so only because I've just seen it here. So
then? We're
we've
well
got
prepared.
10x Scottish. Be ready for the amazing photos that we can review on.
Hmm. Is it the
And
naturals this weekend for PCA?
yes, I want to
Yeah,
say
natural. Oh, the first naturals. Love
get
to
the
see it.
batteries out. So yeah, so that'll be very, very fun.
Mhm.
Because the naturals getting some of them just get such freaky condition. It's nuts.
Like I like I, I don't know how they do it. I'm like it's crazy to me because some of these natty athletes, like I know that there's this kind of stigma that if you compete with natty federations that makes it easier because the athletes aren't as big or they're not as lean and it's like that is not true. Like
If you
when
can
I'm
get the right show, they're bringing trained bikini condition.
I mean, I have these conversations with my first timers now, and I don't know if you're the same, but I always get people come to me go, I want to do this first timer show, or I want to do this natural show. And I'm like, right, look, you need to pick your poison here because the first timer shows and the natural shows are probably just as popular as each other. So you're going to
Yeah.
have big lineups regardless. So you've really got to decide what intimidates you more. Is it the fact that you could be going up against assisted athletes, but you're all first timers and the lineup's going to be massive? Or the lineup's going to be massive and nobody's going to be assisted, but this person could have been competing natty for 10 years.
Yeah.
Like it's
Especially
it's not
with the naturals. It's because you'll always get the genetic ones in there, and they do it, which is great because PCA are so good at making sure you are natural. You do not cheat.
Mm,
So
yeah,
if you ever get the naturals that are like genetic anomalies, absolutely do it because you can prove you're natural because you're going to get those
yeah,
haters. Ignore the haters. You're going to get the haters like not natty because they're jealous. So you're going to roll on in, and then you've got like your little first timer that wants to do a natural show, and you're like, just have fun, like just enjoy it because you've got to understand that they are going to be they're few and far between, but they turn up and they will.
yeah,
So, like you said, pick
absolutely.
your poison with it. And ultimately, sometimes it's better to just do an open show. Like you'll be on stage
Yeah,
a lot quicker because if you're
yeah.
doing bikini at a natural first timers, you're probably not getting on stage till 7 o'clock at night.
Well, there's more open regionals. So
Yeah,
because of that, that they tend to be smaller shows. Obviously, you would argue that, you could be turning up against ex-British champions or whatever, which is all,
yeah,
every type of show that you pick is gonna come with some
yeah.
kind of intimidation. So it's just about figuring out which is the least intimidating to you and rolling with that. But no, I'm excited. I do love watching the natural shows. And like I say, the standard is just absolutely crazy. And PCA do not play about their naturals, so ain't nobody sneaking through. Uh
They
if
will
if
call it if you
they
do.
will call it.
Don't cheat. God damn it. Why does everyone still do it?
Oh dear. It's I think probably what it boils down to is people don't read the rules properly. Don't get me wrong, there are people that try to do stuff and get away
Yeah,
with it. And I'm like, look, like just go play with the people that are doing what you're doing.
yeah.
But I think sometimes like there's this big drama over it, but sometimes it could be something as simple. And you get this all the time where it's like people are like, oh, but I'm not taking any drugs, but it could be that something that one of your supplements has in it. Do you know what I mean? That
Pre-workout
you
is
can
one
get
to watch.
over the counter. There can be ingredients in your pre-workout. And certain medications, for example, like I think that people will think that they're natural because they're taking. I've heard people say this before. It's absolutely wild. Where they're like, "Oh, you can take testosterone and be natty because it's a naturally occurring substance," and I'm like, "That's not how
God,
it works."
no. Yeah.
Obviously, you do get some exemptions in the natty rules, but you have to have like a medical certificate for it. So let's say, for example, you do have a thyroid condition.
Yeah.
I don't know if thyroid is probably a good example, but like, HRT or something like that. You can have those as long as you can provide like a medical
Yeah.
declaration or something like that that says you're only using it to put you at normal range for these
Yeah.
things, but you have to go through the rules
And
and
you
the
have to contact
pathway.
PCA and let them
Yeah,
know and find out.
yeah.
Don't put yourself through it
Don't
all
leave it to
too soon.
chance. So like I'd always just say if you have any uncertainty about it, then just don't enter the natural shows. Like that's, like for me, for example, if I was taking a medication and I wasn't sure, I'd either just be contacting PCA and
They're
asking
so
them
good
and
at
getting the
answering as
exemptions.
well.
They're so good. Or if that intimidates you and you don't want to go through it, then just enter an open regional. Do you know what I mean? Because you're not going to get penalized for it.
Yeah.
But some people don't want to go through the palaver of doing all that. But there are certain exemptions, but just make sure you read all the rules and make sure you're honest with your coaches as well about, and that goes for you first timers too. If you've competed before, tell your coach
Yeah,
because they
definitely.
will find out. So,
They always find out. So
yeah.
that is everything. Obviously, as always, if you ever want us to cover anything we might not have covered, if you want us to ever go over anything, we are committed. We had 3 weeks in a row. We're doing this. We're doing this shit. We got a long season
We're
ahead.
locked in.
We are
No,
locked
apparently
in.
you've got to make it to 10 episodes before
Is
it
this like a
becomes a
relationship?
permanent thing. No, I don't know. Like when we were recording for the other podcast that I did, they said in the podcast studio that if you make it to 10 episodes, then that's normally a good indication that it's gonna last.
Okay, I've got faith. I've got faith we can do it. Please, everyone,
I think we can do
subscribe so
it.
we carry on and make it to 10.
But yeah, no, we appreciate all the love. Thank you.
Definitely appreciate it. So that is everything. If you've made it to the end, absolutely well done because it was a long one. And yes, we will be sure to cover everything in the next one. But thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe,
And all
comment,
that good stuff.
and let us know that you're actually watching it and there's viewers. And yeah, we will see you in the next one.
Cheers.
Bye.
Bye, guys.